Welcome to this fresh edition of your Energy Quick Chat. I am Justina Okechukwu. Today, we look at the future of the Nigerian gas market, especially the liquefied petroleum gas sector, which faces several challenges of inadequate infrastructure, skyrocketing prices, heavy taxes and levies on the value chain, and other issues that has prevented growth in the local markets. But how can the country tap into the vast opportunities that lie ahead, and even as the transition into renewables? I'm being joined now by Norbert Shialsuk. He is the Chief Executive Officer at Ecocity Projects Limited. Thank you for coming on the show today, sir.
Thank you, Justina, for having me.
Now, where is Nigeria at the moment in its agenda since its declaration of the decade of gas?
Okay, well, the declaration was made about 2021, right? And government had prioritized making Nigeria a major consumer of gas, while also driving the objective of making us also a major exporter of gas. And so since then, we've seen a few projects such as Train 7 of NLNG, which has passed FID. We've also seen the launch of the Nigeria-Morocco gas pipeline project, which government is trying to firm up with Morocco. Also, following the enactment of the PIA, which is the Petroleum Industry Act, the government has issued the domestic base price, which is meant to lay the foundation for the gas market. And then also, basically, they've articulated in terms of all of the stakeholders within the industry along the entire value chain, and aligned in terms of the timelines and objectives to achieve between now and 2030. This is one of the key contents of the report. They issued the roadmap for the decade of gas. And so the alignment of the stakeholders, which was very, very important, is a major driver of the next phase.
Now, Mr. Norbert, let's chat about policies and regulations in the gas sector and how these are impacting investments and so on.
Okay, thank you. So there are a few policies, there are quite a lot of policies, but I just want to focus on a few. In terms of regulation, of course, you know that the Petroleum Industry Act has been enacted, and it's about being operationalized. And so that is a major regulatory driver for the next phase of the Nigeria oil and gas industry. In terms of policies, of course, we have the Nigerian Gas Expansion Program that was launched about 2020. And so that policy also was meant to de-risk investment in the midstream and downstream sector. We have also the Nigerian Gas Transportation Network Code, which is very, very good. Also, would be able to lay the framework for operationalization of the gas grid. Also, the Nigerian Gas Flare Commercialization Scheme, which is meant to commercialize flare gas from various gas fields in terms of associated gas production. And so these key policies most of them have not fully taken off, but are expected to have a positive impact on the industry as it is. But another key takeaway is the fact that under the PIA, there's an agency called the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Gas Infrastructure Fund, which is established to sort of provide sort of a funding to de-risk investment in the midstream and downstream segment of the sector. That, I think, is a major policy instrument. They're about taking off, and I know that would have a major impact on the industry.
Now, speaking specifically to the LPG market, why are there so many issues around supply, demand, and the likes, and the metrics?
Okay, so LPG, which in Nigeria we call cooking gas, impacts everyone, from every Nigerian home, to Nigerian businesses, small-scale businesses, large-scale businesses. Everybody uses LPG. And so we've had a sustained period of escalation of LPG prices over the past 10 years. Over the past 1 year. The price of LPG has escalated over, 100%. From about 5,000, we're now paying about 10,000 to 12,000 for the same amount of gas. And so that has led to the drop in the growth of the market. The market last year reached about 1.3 million tons per annum, and it's been growing steadily over the past 5 years by 20%, year on year. And then right now, the market, based on recent data released, shows that as at the end of this year, the market is about 800,000 tons, about 840, 850,000 tons. And so you can see the drop in growth, from 1.3 and 800 is a direct impact of what is going on in the market. People are leaving the LPG and going back to firewood, which has a major implication for the climate change, and also in all of the fight that the government is trying to set up under the Climate Act. All of that basically would have a negative impact. And so this is a worrying development. Yeah.
Now, is Nigeria making progress in the LPG sector? What do the numbers reveal?
Okay, so as I just laid out to you, back in 2005, 2007, when the domestic LPG scheme started, Nigeria's consumption of LPG was about 50,000 tons per annum for a population of 180 at the time, 160 million people. So fast forward 2015, the market grew to about 350,000 tons. Then fast forward again to 2020, the market breached the 1 million ton per annum level. And so moving on from 50,000 where it was to 1 million tons, 13 years later is a massive, massive development. And as of last year, as I said, 1.3 million tons was attained, which shows a major growth and sort of progress in LPG. So penetration for LPG moved to about 25%. And I think that is, in terms of the numbers, very, very encouraging. But of course, now that the number is back down to 850, we should also be worried because we're going back to that era when LPG was scarce and also people were focused on their kerosene and firewood.
Yeah, I was going to say, shouldn't we be worried that it has come back to that level again? Now, looking ahead, give us your top 3 issues that need to be addressed in the gas industry in the new year 2023, and how quickly can those issues be addressed?
Okay, so basically the first thing is to address the issues that are, threatening the growth of the LPG market, right? Over the years, there are 4 key areas of action, which is in terms of availability of energy, right? And this has been addressed with the domestic LPG scheme. That domestic LPG scheme has been threatened now by the high taxes that the government is placing on the commodity, and also interruption of the domestic scheme by a major stakeholder in LNG, which is NNPC. And so this has to be addressed. Otherwise, the issue of availability would now be set back, right? Beyond the domestic LPG scheme, of course, you have to talk about the bigger play, which is the natural gas space value chain in Nigeria. Nigeria needs to focus on addressing all the issues that are plaguing the gas value chain, especially with the issue of high amount of debt that government is owing the gas producers, because the majority of the gas produced in Nigeria goes to power sector, about 60%. And because of liquidity issues, the gas producers are owed a lot of money. And so you've seen gas producers now sort of shying away from investing in drilling more gas wells and so on. And so government needs to address the issue of legacy debts. Government needs to also look again at the domestic pricing for gas. They've issued the domestic base price for gas at about $2.18 per million SCF. That is not sufficient to incentivize investment in gas fields. And so they need to look at that and provide a more cost-reflective tariff, or allow the market to transition to a sort of a cost-reflective regime where gas producers will be able to sell gas at a price that guarantees them the return on investment. And so all of this would further boost the supply of gas to the market. Beyond that, then I'll say accessibility. Government should continue on with AKK, the AKK project, which is the Ajaokuta, Kano, Abuja, Kano, and Kaduna pipeline project. And so the pipeline currently, I think, has gone to Abuja, and then they're also doing the second section all the way to Kaduna and Kano. And so this is a major project that will open up the hinterland markets. And so government should focus on completing that. For LPG access, government should also focus on providing cylinders either on a lease scheme to homes, just so it sort of de-risks the investment for Nigerian homes and encourages them to move to gas. Also, in terms of vehicles, government has made natural gas vehicles as one of the major strategies to drive utilization of gas. And so for that to happen, you need to come up with a scheme to allow motorists to either get this combustion kits for free, and then, basically you charge them as they consume the gas. So these are areas that could help drive accessibility of gas. Beyond that, we have to look at affordability. Nigerians cannot afford gas at the rate at which it is. And so government needs to do whatever it takes to be able to address the issue of the high taxation of LPG, address the issue of supply. And then while doing that, as they drive all of these other projects I've talked about in terms of, getting the domestic base price for gas right, more investment will go into gas production. And so when that happens, there'll be more availability of LPG locally. And so that with more supply, basically you're going to see prices come down. And so the issue of affordability can be addressed. So this for me are the key areas in terms of availability, access to the energy, and then dealing with the issue of affordability. So these are key areas that need to be addressed. The other area will be, I would say, awareness. But of course, a lot of people are more aware now than before with the penetration of internet and so on in Nigeria reaching a very, very high level.
So I thank you so much for those insights into the landscape of the Nigerian gas market, Mr. Norbert Shialsuk, Chief Executive Officer at Ecocity Projects Limited. And we thank you for taking our time to speak with us on Energy Frontiers. And that's it on the Quick Chat today. I am Justina Okechukwu. I'll see you next time.